personally, I would have preferred they go traditional happy ending. If they had gone just traditional happy ending, then I would have preferred that. Even though that's not what made the show great. I would have preferred they go, okay, well, we subverted your expectations every other place. Now we're just gonna go happy ending. You know, John and Dany get married, they have a kid. Their kid is the greatest king of all time, and you know, all that good stuff. Tyrion gets sent over to not King's Landing. Where am I thinking of? Shit, now I'm forgetting where his family's from. Anyway, I'm sure you can tell me in the comments. He goes back and he said he always wanted to open his own vineyard. Well, guess what? Now he's Lord of Casterly Rock. There we go. Lord of Casterly Rock. And he's producing wine. Just wine everywhere. That's his thing. Because they're out of gold. That was a big thing in the whole story. Casterly Rock's completely out of gold. They're broke. So he goes about saying, "Oh, well, here's this new cash crop. I'm selling the best wine throughout throughout all the kingdoms and into Essos. Yeah, great. That's how, now he's Lord of Casterly Rock. Sansa's up in Winterfell. She's the the queen or whatever, whatever they want to make her up there. They could have done happy ending all the way through, but they didn't even decide to do that. They could have done completely horrible ending, like just the worst ending ever, and just had the Night King win. There you go. Evil wins. Have a nice day. That would have been preferable to me. Go ahead and just have him march through. You have the main characters get away from Winterfell. They go to King's Landing, and they get destroyed there too. There you go. End of story. Yeah, the final scene is the Night King sitting on the Iron Throne. I mean, they could have taken a stand and gone one way or another, and basically they could have ended the story any other way, and it would have been fine. But they ended it the one way definitively to piss everybody off. And that fucking pissed me off. It still pisses me off, as you can probably tell. It's annoying. So, going with that, here's how I would have ended Game of Thrones. So, season 8, number 1, the main threat in the entire story is the Night King. Cersei, while evil and conniving, she's really not that big of a threat. So what needs to happen, in my opinion, is the Night King needs to win the Battle of Winterfell. You have Jon and Dany and all the main characters get out of Winterfell. And you still have Jorah die. Jorah needs to die. You still have all the you still have all the Night's Watch guys that are down at Winterfell. They all die. Maybe even kill Tormund, just to make sure that you get a lot more emotion out of, like, there's a lot of people that are dead here that we have grown accustomed to. So there's maybe even kill Podrick. I mean, you got to kill a lot of people here in that episode to make sure that it's really rams home just how badly they got destroyed. Obviously, Jon, Dany, Sansa, Tyrion, all the Starks obviously get out of there. Bran gets out of there. Everybody gets out, and you get enough of the Unsullied and enough of the Dothraki, and you get them down to King's Landing. Now here's the thing: is I am a little bit stealing this from an internet video. I forget where it is. I haven't seen it. I tried looking it up last week and I couldn't find it again. I'm stealing this a little bit from them. I had the same kind of idea, and then it popped up on my feed, so I was like, okay. The Google algorithm on YouTube apparently works because it can read my mind. So you have the Night King win, and so they all go down to King's Landing and kind of grovel to Cersei, like, hey, we got our butts kicked, and You weren't there. You were supposed to help us. And it doesn't, and Cersei's like, okay, I'll let you guys in. But when the Night King gets here, you have to, before the Night King gets here, you have to bend the knee. So basically, you have Dany who has to bend the knee to Cersei. So Dany talks it over with Jon and Grey Worm, and she decides, okay, great, we're going to do that. So she bends the knee to Cersei, and they go ahead and the Night King comes down for battle. What happens is during that battle, they start to get the upper hand. And I think this is where you have Jon and the Night King fight. You have them fight, and you can tell a certain story around this too, where Jon has to, you can throw some sort of story into, again, I'm not a writer, I'm not a professional, script writer or anything like that, but you can throw a little thing into this. Like, this fight is, for example, the Night King if the Night King dies, then all the magic, I guess, in the world dies too. So since Jon was brought back from the dead, Jon dies. You can tell a story like that, or you can, I don't know, this thing has to come down to it, that it has to come down to Jon versus the Night King. That's what it really has to come down to. And then you have that fight. Now, what I would say is that during that fight, remember, in the Battle of Winterfell, you take away the fact that the Night King can't be burned by the dragon and die. So take that away. You don't need that. But, or you can still have it, but Cersei doesn't know that. So what happens is that it looks like they're going to win. So it looks like that they're going to win. It's just Jon versus the Night King right now. But we know that, as long as Jon can get a nice solid stab, a nice solid blow to the Night King, he wins. So we know that. But you cut away to Cersei going Mad King. Start saying burn them all. You can go back to just how she set up the Scepter Baelor explosion, how she has all that green explosive stuff. And you set that up so that you can see, like, hey, she has it. She has all the streets lined. She can destroy everything. And have Cersei go into the whole burn them all thing, just like you had for the Mad King. But that's when Jaime needs to kill Cersei. That is the character arc that they were building for Jaime the whole time. I think that was the most disappointing character ending, was Jaime. Jaime had this, he went from this, brash, he pushed a little kid out of a freaking window. So he went from that, you were having this whole redemption arc for 8 seasons, 7.5 seasons, and he doesn't really get to complete it. So they just undid all of that, and that was terrible. So he kills Cersei. I would say have him kill himself after that. That way, he's redeemed himself, but he still loves Cersei, so you do that. And then you have Jon and Dany. They've defeated the Night King. There you go. There's the end. And there's your happily ever after. So if you're going to do happily ever after, if you want to stick with the Dany goes crazy thing, go ahead and keep everything else the same. Again, Jon and the Night King need to fight at the Battle of Winterfell. You have to have Jon, or you have to have something that makes Dany go crazy in the moment. So you still have to have that. The only thing you really need to change at that point is what happens after Jon kills Dany. That one scene right there would probably fix everything. So what you do is, my personal take would be, Drogon comes up to Jon, sees that he's killed Dany, and tries to burn Jon. Doesn't try to burn the throne, tries to burn Jon. So during that commotion, all the Unsullied rush in, and a few of the head of the Dothraki, they rush in to see what's going on. They see that Drogon is trying to kill Jon, but Jon doesn't burn. Remember, this show was built on the show called The Song of Ice and Fire. Jon is the Song of Ice and Fire. He's a Targaryen and a Stark. So he doesn't burn. He gets out. They all look at him and go, oh, well, he doesn't burn either. And that, if you go back to the beginning, that's why everyone started just bending the knee to Dany, because she didn't burn in the flames. So, and they kept repeating that throughout the series. She doesn't burn. She doesn't burn. So Jon doesn't burn either. Jon goes up. He gets on the dragon. He tells everybody that comes in. He tells them his name. I'm, whatever is Aemon Targaryen, fifth of my name, blah, 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 blah. All that stuff. And he says what he's been saying the entire last 2 episodes. I don't want it. He basically relinquishes the throne. So he gets on Drogon. He melts down the Iron Throne. He has Drogon pick up Dany, and they fly away. They're gone. That's it. That is the payoff you need right there. Then you can go ahead and make whoever you want king. It doesn't matter. Now, if you can make whoever you want king, I think it should have been Sansa, make her queen, and I think that's who really should have been the person in charge. Make her queen. She can always say, well, I'm changing the capital to Winterfell, and then, or whatever. I mean, you can do whatever you want at that point. So, but by and large, if you want to make Bran king, whatever, I don't care. And then if you still want a story with Jon and Dany, like what happened to them, that would, I would like to know. I mean, at the very beginning, I think it was the first episode of the season, Jon and Dany fly the dragons, and they come to this little place, and it talks about how, they talk about how, they could just stay there and, grow old and be together forever. Do that. I mean, you alluded to it earlier in the season. They go to this tiny place in the north where no one will ever know where they are, and they could live there forever. And here's the thing: is after the Battle of Winterfell, you could always have that the Red Priestess, instead of dying right then and there for no reason. I don't know what that was about. She just up and died. She just keeps walking and keeps walking and keeps walking, and that's where she is. Because she can kind of see the future a little bit. So she just goes there. She goes there and she's waiting for them. She brings Dany back to life. There you go. There's your happily ever after as well. So you get to pay off on Jon's character. You still get to make Dany crazy. But you still get the happily ever after. So you have a little bit of that. It's just not the way you thought if you're going happily ever after. And then you can still do whatever you want. As far as Bran being the king, or whoever else wants to be king or queen, whatever, Arya can still go do her thing. But then Jon has always had this. The reason why you need Jon to do this is because Jon has always had power thrust on him that he never wants. That's something that needs to be paid off. Where he had the power thrust on him, he had the ability to be king, and again, and this time finally, he said, fuck off. I don't want it at all. So that would have been, to me, the best way to pay it off. But again, we're talking about how they basically ruined the best show in the history of television by lazy writing and cowardice. So that's what I think should have happened for Game of Thrones. Let me know in the comments what you think, how you think the series should have ended. If you have any YouTube videos or any other types of videos, Rumble or any other type of video service, if you have somebody that has a good idea on how it should have ended a little bit better, go ahead and leave those in the comments too. I love to watch those videos when I get a chance.